Hi everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. This kitchen used to be the sequestered chef kitchen when we were doing videos for the wellness center, and now I'm doing videos for myself and my business partner that we've partnered together to bring a program called Health is Wealth. So we thought that during the holidays it's too crazy for us to try to have a lot of classes because everybody's so busy with holiday stuff. And we still have a little bit of coronavirus going on. So we thought we'd bring you a few videos. Daryl can bring you some shopping videos. And I wanted to bring you a Thanksgiving video. And so I don't know if y'all are in the spirit of Thanksgiving already. And I've got all my decorations out. And so I love those pictures you always see in the fall of people that have made stuffed pumpkins. So I thought this time I'm going to make a stuffed pumpkin and share it with you, and it makes a great side. And if you're trying to find things to take to a meal that are not quite as bad and they're not full of cheese or full of gravy or full of milk and cream, those kind of things, this will be a good recipe. So what I discovered along the way, because I made the recipe first before I videoed this part in case I messed it up, I would just toss it and not show it to you. So anyway, I've already made it, but what I learned along the way was that I had a lot more rice, which is the stuffing base, left over. So I always like when I meal prep to have it use something different ways so that I don't get bored during the week. So during the video you'll see how I made the stuffed pumpkins, and so that's a great side. Actually I would put that with a salad, and that would be a great meal. But because there was so much of the rice left over and it's wild rice based, I decided that I could make a soup out of it. So all I did with what was left over, and I didn't even do it all because sometimes I might just want the rice, but I took some of it and I added some more vegetable broth to it to make it a soup consistency. And then you could add a little milk or cream if you want to use cream. I actually used almond milk. And then if you want to thicken it up a little bit, there's all kind of things you can thicken it with. You can use a little bit of flour and water mixed together if you want to use flour. I liked it the consistency that it was. And you could pick up a rotisserie chicken at the grocery store on your way home and cut some of that chicken up and add to it, and you would have a wonderful chicken and wild rice soup for dinner or to go with another salad. So I hope you enjoy the video. Again, at the end, I'll give the show notes and put the recipe in there. You'll see a few little bloopers along the way that I forgot. I didn't understand between Celsius and Fahrenheit when I was reading the recipe, so we had a little problem with getting the pumpkins done on time. But I show you everything from how to cut the pumpkins open and to baking them, to toasting pecans for the rice mixture. So hopefully you'll learn a few things along the way. You can reach out to me at fitterbyfarr@gmail.com. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I have a Facebook page with that same name, Fitter by Farr, and I also have recipes on Pinterest. So this one is on there, and quite a lot of other ones that some of them I've used in the videos and some I've just used because it was something that I wanted to cook. So I hope you enjoy, and if I don't make another video before, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Here are the 6 pumpkins I picked out from my bag I got at Kroger. And there were 8 in the container, but a couple of them looked like this with some bad spots starting. So I decided to let those go. And since the recipe only called for 6, it worked out perfectly. So let's see if I can cut them and clean them out like the recipe says. Okay, I'm not gonna deny that I was not looking forward to this because cutting pumpkins and cleaning the insides out is kind of disgusting to me. But you can see that I got one done, and it wasn't that bad, really. So it worked out better if I took this knife and just scored along the edge and to where I wanted it, and then came back with this one and cut it. It worked out a whole lot better. So I was just gonna show you, so when I cut it, it looks like it's solid, but it's really not unless this one becomes a problem. You just gotta poke down in there just a little bit. The other one I didn't have to do this. My spoon went right through, but I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm just just going to cut that around just a little bit. It looks like I could have gone a little deeper with the lid, but you can see I did pretty good on that. All right, so here's what you got to look forward to, is getting that out. And again, I just took a spoon just like you would with a big pumpkin and just got it out, and then kind of scraped it a little so you can see there's still a little bit of the stringy stuff in there, but I think it'll be okay. We're just gonna bake it, and it probably, you won't even notice it once it's baked, but we're gonna find out. All right, I'm gonna clean up the rest of these and then I'll show you the next step. All right, I got all 6 of these cut up, and it was not traumatic. And then I put down some parchment paper on my little pan. The next step is to take some olive oil and brush it on the insides and the outsides of the pumpkins. So don't forget the insides. So I've already done this one. So you spray, or you just use your basting brush, paint it, and then put some salt and pepper in it. Then we're gonna put these in the oven after I do the rest of them. We're gonna put them in the oven for about 30 minutes on 200. And while that's going, you can get the rice and the thing that we're gonna stuff it with ready. So let me pop these in the oven, or finish brushing them and then pop them in the oven, and then I'll come back and show you what the stuffing is gonna look like. Okay, so I thought I would show you all the ingredients for the stuffing that goes in the pumpkins. And I've got the camera turned around so all the words are backwards, but I think you'll recognize everything. First, you're gonna have some olive oil, and some salt and pepper. And then the other spices that we would have is sage and thyme. And if you can get fresh thyme, that would be good. I didn't see any, so I'm having to use the ground kind. And rosemary, and I did find fresh rosemary in the store. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, fresh spices are the best. So I grew some out on my deck all summer, but they're all gone now. So I'm back to buying them in the grocery store. The next thing is we're going to use some celery, thinly sliced. The recipe that I saw called for chestnut mushrooms, and I've never seen those. So I got golden oak shiitakes, so hopefully those will do the same. And then it called for a carrot, and I bought these rainbow carrots once before recently, and they were pretty good. So I saw them, and instead of one orange carrot, I'm just going to use different colored smaller carrots. And then this is fennel. We're going to use one. We're going to chop up some fennel. And then we are going to use, the recipe calls for basmati and wild rice blend, and so I really couldn't find anything with just that in it, but I did find this one at Kroger yesterday. White and brown basmati rice, red rice, wild rice, and red quinoa. So we're gonna go with that one. And then the only other things left, you're gonna toast some pecans, you're gonna add some cranberries, and you're gonna cook your rice in vegetable broth. So we're going to put all that together and then come back, and you'll see it all mixed up. And I'm going to put the recipe down in the show notes so that you can, if you like what you see and you think you want to give it a try, I'll give you the exact recipe that I used. All right, we'll be back in a little bit. As I was starting to cut everything up, I realized I left out 2 ingredients a while ago. There's also an onion and garlic that I didn't have out a while ago for you to look at. So I'm waiting for my pan to heat up, but this is the fennel. And the, I'm sorry, not fennel, it's a leek. And the onions and the celery are on the bottom. And I just wanted you to see those carrots, and you just dice them thin. Because you have to remember the pumpkins aren't that big, so you don't want to have big chunks of anything, because then they won't fit in there. So I'm gonna throw these in here when the skillet gets hot, and then we'll come back. So I'm adding in, I've cooked this down a little bit. I've added in the spices. I'm adding in the garlic, which I told you I forgot to tell you about in the beginning, that it was 4 cloves of garlic. And then the recipe calls for mushrooms, which this is about 4.5 ounces, 4 ounces. It calls for 2 of those. That's a little too much mushroom for me. I've quickly realized that I'm probably going to have more stuffing than pumpkins. So you're either going to need more than 6 small pumpkins, or you're going to have some extra that doesn't go in the pumpkins. But this is one of the packages chopped, and I think that's going to be plenty. So I'm going to add that in as well, and then stir that around. The next step is to add the rice and the vegetable broth, and then we're almost done with this. So there's that. We're just going to cook it down a little bit, and I will come back again after we get to the next stage. While I'm waiting for the rice to cook down, I wanted to go ahead and toast the pecans. So I had bought whole pecans and I chopped them, and then you just put them in a skillet on high and you stir them around, and they will start to toast. And you cannot take your eyes off of them, not for a second, because as soon as you do, you'll burn them. So I'm gonna turn the video off so that I don't talk too much and burn them. But I will come back. I just wanted you to see, this is all there is to toasting. Almonds toasted this way are fabulous. I think I've only ever done, maybe I've done walnuts as well. But you just kind of stir them around, let the skillet get really hot, and they'll start smelling wonderful. And then if you're not careful, they won't smell wonderful because you burned them. So I'm going to go ahead and get off of the video before I do that. Alright, the pumpkins are out of the oven. And when I started this video, I told you that you cooked it at 200. And when the time was up, it was not done. And I looked back at the recipe. That was Celsius. So when you're getting recipes, especially off of Pinterest, you need to make sure that you're using the right cooking time. So this was actually 400. And it probably took about closer to 30 minutes for these to get done. And then this is the finished rice stuffing. You can see a pecan in there. You can see some of the cranberries I put in there also. So, as you can see, I'll pull this away a little bit. That's a lot of stuffing to go in 6 little pumpkins. So I think I'm going to have extra left, but I'm not sad about that because it smells delicious. And I think it's going to be good whether it's sitting in a pumpkin or just sitting in my bowl. Okay, here's the finished product. They're not exactly like the photo that came off of Pinterest, but I think they're pretty cute, and the rice tastes fabulous. So and I was right, I did have a lot left over, but that's okay because you can eat it with something else the next day after Thanksgiving if these are what you're going to make on Thanksgiving. But I think it would make a cute little addition to your table if you have the time. It was a little bit time consuming, but I think I got it. The pumpkins took about 10 minutes to clean up and 30 minutes to bake, and then the rice took about 30 minutes to put together and cook. So it really wasn't that bad for something that turned out this cute. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll put the show notes down, or the recipe down in the show notes. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at fitterbyfarr@gmail.com. Thank you.